The views and opinions expressed on this station do not reflect the owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Good morning, everyone. This is the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House and Linders. I'm Carla Zul. This is Jamal Hartman. Morning, Mal.
What's happening? Not sure, folks. Apologies, but YouTube is not exactly working right now, so forgive Carla for whatever she did. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. If you haven't already, share the link, start a watch party, just get the conversation out there to your network. A good one to begin the week as Jugglin Jason is stopping by. So a lot to talk about on the entertainment front. The Daily Players are who said it. So I'm guessing that Carla's gonna guess that. Well,
That's
yeah,
just can't get it right. Yep.
no, no, no. I just said that Carla's gonna guess. I said nothing about it being right, wrong. I didn't even do that to you, Carla. I did not do it to you. Anyway, how was your weekend?
Busy. I'm getting ready to do some painting for Christmas for the first time ever in my life. So, well, I'm not gonna do it, but so I had to break down a couch. What an adventure!
Break down a couch. How exactly do you do that, Carla?
Literally, step on it, pull it apart. What the Allen key couldn't pull apart, my feet could.
I was looking for an Ellen key this weekend. I was asked to perform a task for the other half on her bike, and I needed an Ellen key. But these hands found a way to get the job done anyway. So Allen keys should always be a part of the toolkit, by the way, folks.
Yep,
You don't
in
know,
different sizes too.
in different sizes. Well, I always felt like you have to have a Phillips screwdriver, but the Allen key is just as important. Just as important. A lot to discuss today before we get to Jugglin Jason to bring on. And let me be clear about Jugglin Jason. I mean, most people will say, "Oh, just a radio guy, DJ," but there's a lot of things that these people have how they impact the entertainment industry. It's not just being on the radio or at parties, but corporate events. Right now, it's Christmas party, holiday season in Bermuda. You also have weddings that have not been taking place. So it's a lot to their trade. So look forward to having a conversation with him. Carla, did you see one of the moments of the year? Young Bermudian Johnny Burchell, 16 years old, making his debut for recently relegated football club from England's top tier, the Premier League, Bournemouth. Did you see the
I
highlight?
did. I did see when he came on the field. Yeah, I was. It's awesome, and it's nice when, like, I know his parents, and it's just little cutesy pootsy story. As you know, my son, my oldest son's name is Johnny. So when they were little, I
Yeah.
remember one time my Johnny got his first a Johnny jersey because it came from him. So it's like, oh, that's cute.
That
I'm
is.
so happy for him. I wish him the absolute best.
I don't remember him when I was coaching at Noel Village. I remember seeing his parents. So I don't, you know, recall. I think he was probably only 4 or 5 years old, if that, when I was at Noel Village coaching. But to see so many in that generation from Noel Village children succeed in these academies overseas is quite a joy because I think it was St. John's Road. Standy Town's been producing the most as of over the last decade, and Noel Village was always known to be that club. So it's nice to see that these young Noel Village footballers are once again getting the opportunities and getting back to the level that they deserve to be. And we talk
And
about
also, I love that it's young. I've said to one of my, I put it on my WhatsApp status yesterday about a Johnny Birchall, and one of Maya Johnny's English coaches said, "Do you know this young lad?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're all from the same country, blah blah." And I said, "Bermuda has some really talented, in the football context, really talented young men." And he's like, "I got to get over there and do some scouting." But it's just awesome that
indeed.
um, these young men are putting Bermuda on the map.
Yep. Yeah. Speaking of young men putting Bermuda on the map, um, you know, hopefully Bermuda shows them the love that they're given to Bermuda. But Kai One Minus, who was on the show recently, did you see the video from Soledad O'Brien this week? Well, let's show the people. Let's see if we can show them. So Kai One is a Bermudian equestrian, and he was on the show recently, and is also a talented singer. And one of his new clients is Soledad O'Brien. And Soledad O'Brien actually shared a video, a video of Kai One singing this weekend. Some of the comments were funny, folks. Some of the comments were funny. So here's Soledad O'Brien. Does everyone know who Soledad O'Brien is?
Oh, I do.
Well,
Awesome journalist, longtime journalist. Is she still with CNN or no?
you've got me there, but she has a show, I think, on the weekends. But here she Kai One, who is a Bermudian equestrian, and he also trains horses and does lessons over here. He was on the show recently. He's also a talented singer. He sings at a lot of different events, just like Jugglin Jason would be DJing at events and parties and so on. Kai One also uses his talents there. So I remember him telling me back in September he had a new client, Soledad O'Brien, and one of the funniest comments was it was in the comments. This one right here. Your new boyfriend, she says, literally, I'm old enough to be his mom. He's a great equestrian, teaches riding, and he's a singer also. But that was hilarious to me because, you know, Kai, people were jealous of you, bro. They were jealous. They thought that you were her new man. But also, she went on to say Kai is a very talented Bermudian who, is her horse trainer. So I love that there are so many Bermudians. Were it not, let me say this, were it not for social media, many Bermudians would not know the kinds of things that they're doing outside of Bermuda, whether it's Kaylin Castle, Kai One Miners, a Johnny Birchall at such a young age, right? So, you know, we've got talent, folks. We need to support them. We need to get there. I mean, this is huge. This is huge. I must say, one of the comments I saw about you can't tell me that's not Tevin Campbell. I don't like telling people that, but that they sound like. I'm like, I've always thought Kai was a better sounding Tevin Campbell, but yes, Kai One is doing big things. So props to Kai One Minus. Also, now before we get into the quick discussion of this morning, I told you about my wife and I, our first wild gator experience yesterday.
No, I haven't spoken to you all weekend. I feel neglected. I heard about it, but anyway. Again, social media.
Well, let me show you. Let me show you my first gator experience in the wild during our nature walk yesterday. Here you go. So here we are, taking our Sunday nature walk, and I told her we'll see our first gator sighting today. And as I zoom in, you can see. What should we name it?
Oh my gosh. I can't say anything but oh my gosh. That's his name. Oh my gosh.
She's acting like she's never seen nature before.
Oh my gosh.
She's acting brand new.
That gator is huge. Huge.
Yeah. He's probably sizing something up for Sunday brunch, you know. But nice to see you, Mr. Gator. But I'm not going to stick around for dinner time. So that was our encounter with our first gator down here, and somebody was acting like, oh no, that's whatever.
Please tell me it was a barrier there, right?
There's a walkway, but normally there's not really barrier. This is their land. We're on their land.
Okay, I'm paranoid, right? But please don't do that again. I have heard or seen stories of where the alligator jumps off the comes out of the water and snaps the people. So
well, call this.
You can't run that fast.
It's what gator.
This ain't the rabbit.
It's what Oh, I did see Bugs this morning. He was chicken too. But no, Carla, this is their land. Like there's lakes. Or you cannot, you know how people used to say you can't drive 5 minutes without being next to water or near water in Bermuda. There's nothing but water in Florida, and this is their land. Remember, we're infiltrating their land. So the gators are here. We just have to use like when you purchase a home here, most of the times there's always the things that you would have to understand. Hey, there's water nearby. Please be warned. There's likely to be gators here. So
Yeah, I know. I have family down there, and I've seen stories of finding them in the pool and all of that. No.
I mean, if you want to swim with a gator, we can make it happen. I want to touch on something before we get to the news and get to the focus of the day. But last week, the law to allow non-union members votes on decertification passed in the House. And we briefly discussed that on Friday. But what I found interesting about this law, and I want to touch on, because we had Petrino Conapanta on the show on Friday, and we were talking about, we were discussing charities. We've had charities on prior with our good friend Zach from Lindo's and Agape House. We've had other charities about diabetes, Bastanoia. And so I want to address something. Now, in this bill, it says the law still to be passed by the Senate, according to the RG, would also allow workers in a union shop who decided to pay their union dues to charity instead of would keep the option, right? They would keep the option, but it would be changed from 100% donation to 50% to charity and 50% to the union. You get that, right?
Yeah.
All right. So the opposition MP, Scott Pierman, said it was truly surprising that workers would no longer be able to send the full amount to charity. Now, my question to the audience, my question to everyone out there is, does this concern you because charities are already kind of in trouble? Does this concern you at all?
It kind of doesn't make sense to me, because if you don't want to be the member of a union, why would you want to have a percentage of your money go to the union? So I would think if I did charity, like at one point in very early in my working career, I did charity. It all went to charity. Why would I want to, if I don't want to be in the union, why would I pay money towards it? Although I benefit from it. Let's not forget that part. But it doesn't make sense. I think it's a blow to charities.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Carl. I think it's a serious blow to charity. And let's keep in mind, throughout this pandemic-driven recession that we're kind of in, charities are being hard hit. I mean, they're already in a really bad space. So it's a tough one. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure I understand this legislation, and look, I'm not the smartest cookie in the jar, so maybe someone can help break it down for me to get. We have Mr. Young. Alan Young says that's some BS. Alan Young says, how can the government do that? 30-6. Sean Smith says that's the back door to busting the union. And Carrie Lamb says, yes, people should be allowed to choose. It is a complete blow to charity. So it's a blow on both sides based on the comments. But I know you had concern, and I saw someone else put it today. I saw someone put on social media, quote, Jason Hayward is the reason I left the union, right? Now, I know you had questioned, which I finally understood what you meant after we got off air, is you had questioned, this is one of the concerns you have with people who have an understanding or experience in things becoming ministers of such. But while I agree with you, your experience should not be used against the very people who put you there, if that's the case, so these are
that was my point.
Yeah, these are very interesting times with this government in particular. And I think one of the things that Bermudians should have realized long ago with the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party is I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's impossible with this group of people for them to be labor and the government. They've proven it since 98. These are the same people that fought to keep forced labor. Now they're doing something like this when they're supposed to be the party of the people and labor. So I don't know. I don't get it. And like I said, maybe if someone breaks it down a bit more, I can understand what the logic is, but it just doesn't look cool.
Yeah, I read it. I read the article several times because actually, when you didn't quite get where I was coming from, I thought maybe I was explaining it wrong. Um, but it just doesn't make sense. Why, if I don't eat tomatoes, why would I go and want half my money to go to tomato farms?
Mhm.
It just on the layman's sense, it just doesn't make sense. So,
Well, their logic is that it's going to give them the right to decertify the union.
and I don't even think that's right. I like I said, if you're not a part of a union,
Hmm.
although you may still benefit via the collective bargaining agreement, if you don't want to be a part of my organization, how dare you have a right to decide about my organization?
Hmm.
I think that's wrong. So I see it on both. I see it from that perspective in where it affects the union, but I also see it where it affects the charities as well. And I saw where they said about it'll be consistencies. I don't. Maybe I need to dig deeper as well because I don't see what consistencies they're referring to.
Yeah. Questions. Rick Olson has, what dollar amount are we talking about? I think that would be, that would provide some clarity. Nachiko Trot says, as a union member, I need further explanation on both fronts. Charles Jeffers says, Rick Olson, I had the same question at first, but when it comes to charities, I'm sure every little bit helps. And we'll round it out with Kathy Ann Panther. They are not neutral, which is necessary to be fair, just, and transparent government. Let's go to the news and then we're going to take a break and we'll be back with the man of the hour, Jugglin Jason.
Bermudian teenager Ajani Birchall made history in the Sky Bet Championship as the third youngest player to make his debut for Bournemouth. Birchall, who turned 16 on November 5th, got on from the substitutes bench for the final 3 minutes of a 5-0 home win over Huddersfield Town. The former Bermuda under-15 forward, who only last year was offered a pre-scholarship agreement in the Bournemouth Academy, has impressed mightily at age group level and got his chance when manager Jason Tyndall needed to fill the void in the first team squad left by injuries to Joshua King and Arnott Najuma. Congratulations, Ajani. The Bermuda Police Service is aware of a disturbing video circulating on social media in which a severely injured male is being held by another male and a firearm is also seen. The Bermuda Police Service can confirm the firearm seen in this video, along with multiple rounds of ammunition, have been seized by its officers. The injured male is now under arrest and in custody at the King Edward VII Memorial Hospital. Upon arrival by police, a second male was also arrested, given the circumstances. This male has now been released after assisting police with their inquiries into the incident, which stemmed from a reported home invasion involving a firearm in the St. George's area early in the morning of Saturday, December 12th. The the Bermuda Police Service urges that anyone who finds themselves in such a situation where serious violence is presented, as rare as this occurrence is, that they should act within the confines of the law to protect themselves and others by immediately contacting police on 911 to enable an emergency response from appropriately skilled police officers. Anyone with information on either of these incidents is asked to call the main police number at 295-0011 or 211. A man was taken into custody after he climbed onto the wing of an Alaska Airlines plane at the Las Vegas airport on Saturday, an airport spokesperson said. Flight 1367 from Las Vegas to Portland was preparing for takeoff from McCarran International Airport when the pilot noticed a person coming towards the aircraft and notified the control tower, Alaska Airlines said in a statement. Video shot by a passenger shows the man sitting and walking on the wing. He then removes his socks and shoes before trying to climb the Boeing 737 winglet, the upturned end of the plane's wing. As police officers approach the man, he slides down the winglet and falls onto the tarmac below. Officers took the man into custody and he was taken to a medical facility. Turning to weather with a mix of sun and clouds, the high in Bermuda is expected to reach 75. Temperatures in Boston, Massachusetts will reach a high of 37, and there will be a high of 50 in Manchester, UK. It's Reggae Mondays all day on the 4100 radio. Don't miss the mix with Jugglin Jason from noon to 3 p.m. Bermuda time. That's your daily hour news break.
All righty. Let's take a quick break, and we will be back with Jugglin Jason to have a good old grand conversation. Don't miss it.
Good day, Medical House Doris speaking. Can I help you?
Medical House is Bermuda's leading one-stop shop for healthcare.
I found myself being a caregiver. Even though I was a nurse, I still needed help on, what was available in hospital beds and all that kind of equipment, and I knew where to go. I went to Medical House.
Bermuda's top doctors, dentists, care homes, and the hospital choose Medical House for a wide range of products. These same professional quality products are available to you for home health care.
I was very pleased with Medical House and the help they gave me when I most needed it.
Your experience with Medical House is about getting your needs met, but we also try to provide knowledge to help you through whatever you're experiencing.
Medical House is on Millreach Lane in Pembroke, where there is private parking right outside the door.
I would recommend them to anybody.
Call or visit Medical House today.
John Barrett & Son, Bermuda's premier beverage distributor, is bringing on the joyful festivities this Christmas with Barrett Stone Ginger Beer, Diet and Original. We've often championed this quintessentially Bermudian drink. It's refreshing and spicy and is becoming a traditional ingredient in the kitchen. Google cooking with ginger beer and you'll be impressed by the diversity and wow factor of the recipes. As our good friend Bruce Barrett says, bubbly, tasty, full of spice, refreshing and exciting. When it hits your taste buds, made full flavor is igniting. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to Medical House and Lindo's, also Crimson Multimedia over there on Channel 82, Lamone Woods and team. Some great programs on that station and some more coming up. So make sure you support local content. Support local content. Support local content. With that said, again, thanks to all who are watching on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. We are, I believe YouTube may be down today, but hey, there's multiple ways to tune in, so we appreciate you. While we're speaking of local content, let's bring in, I don't want to edge Jugglin J by any, I do that enough to Carla, but one of the premier DJs for quite a few decades. That's the best way I can say it.
And he's older than me.
She did it, bro. She did it. But premier entertainers on the island, one of the, I guess, most respected. Bringing to the conversation, Jugglin Jason. Welcome to the show, my friend. I didn't do it. She did.
Jason, we go back. We could do this. Jamel's a youngin'.
She said it, my brother.
Yeah. Good morning, guys.
Morning. First off, thank you for getting up this early to do this. We know the only person that can usually get you up this early is your princess. And
yes and no. Yes, definitely my princess. But also, as you know, Jamel, 5 o'clock in the morning is the perfect time to do production because nobody's going to bother you. Nobody's going to bother you.
I say it all the time. 5 a.m. is one of the best times to wake up. But for some reason, people just keep doubting me. I don't know. But look, you know what? Carla, what is it? 5 hours ahead of me, 4 hours ahead of Bermuda. So you can legit say you wake up 9 a.m. if you want it, that you're waking up, it's 5 a.m. somewhere in the world. So, I'm
calculating that in my head, okay?
Yeah. It's 5 a.m.
But I go to bed at 2, so 5 means only 3 hours. So I'm the opposite of you. I like to stay up late and work, so no one can bother me. So
I can't do it. I know Jugglin Jason, you're used to being up late because you do, a lot of late night stuff. But let's get to the conversation. We've talked about the beauty industry and salons and barbershops on this show. We've talked about the exercise and fitness with gyms, hospitality and tourism. But I want to talk about music and entertainment. I mean, from concerts, you have even sporting events. Mm-hmm. The pandemic has impacted so much. but how has it impacted you and your colleagues who are DJs and rely on live events?
You said it. We're in that same pool. We're all suffering, and not just here, but also around the world. 2 weeks ago on our Reggae Monday show, we were speaking with Ross Shiloh, who has been here many times performing, and he hasn't performed for the whole year. And one thing about with artists, as you know, Jamal, the days of actually making money off of producing an album, it becomes scarce. So most of the money, most of the revenue comes from performing. And with all the lockdown, with all the restrictions, the lack of shows, the lack of traveling, everybody's taking a big hit.
Yeah, indeed, and that's such a valid point, because I remember learning that many years ago that artists pretty much make their money from live performances. People like to put DJs in a box as if they're just for nightclubs, but there are weddings. Weddings. I mean, my wife is a wedding planner. I've seen how it's impacted that. Right. There's birthday parties. Right. There's corporate events. Right now is a big time for DJs with corporate Christmas and holiday parties. How have you been able to respond to the challenges of not having these kind of things going on in 2020?
Well, that's been the magic question for everybody's trying to answer. The piece of the puzzle that everybody's trying to fix. Talking with some of my colleagues, guys like Craig Bubbles, Darrell, even Rusty G a couple of weeks ago, last week, guys who are basically full-time DJs. It's been a challenge because we've been able to make out in the industry for years because we just didn't play in clubs. We just didn't do radio. We did, like I said, the corporate stuff. If the hotels will have conventions throughout the summer, they will need DJs throughout that day on a daily basis. And sometimes when I remember with groups like State Farm, they will come for like a 5-week stretch, 1,000+ people every week or 500 people plus every week. So we will be entertaining them throughout the week. But not only just that, you got to think of all the folks. When people talk about DJs, they just think about that 2 or 3 or 4 hours that were actually in the club. But I've got to remember, a lot of DJs will come with a team, or there's some type of support staff when you're talking about sound reinforcement, the equipment that's got to get there, the promotions, the promoter that's got to put it on, the security that's got to work, the hostess that's got to be there, the cleanup people that's got to affect us. So when I actually do an event that we haven't done since February, even for something small in a club, let's take, for instance, like one of our local sporting clubs like Bailey's Bay or Devon Chirac or something like that, for us to put on a dance of sort, we're going to look at just myself putting up about $2,500 to $3,000. Now, bear in mind, once again, that's going on for rent, that's going on for trucking, that's going on for all these different things. So when folks think, oh well, the DJ is just not making no money. No, it's probably a staff of about 20 to almost 30 people that's not going to get paid that night. Now, when we do the sound reinforcements for, take for instance, the comedy shows, shout out to Envy Productions, because you guys may have been to a few of the Envy Production comedy shows. Some of the big shows we've had over the last probably 5, 6, 7 years. Mike Gaps and the rest, what's those new guys, 85 South. When you look at just that setup alone, once again, you're talking about a staff of close to 40, 50 people. If you was to ask the guys from Extreme Entertainment with the boxing, can you imagine how many people that takes to put that on? So you might just think of the boxing event, that 2-3 hours, but the preparation, the setup, it's a lot of people that's gonna not get paid through this pandemic.
Yeah, it's some serious trickle down. Yeah, it spreads. I mean, it's ripple. It's so much bigger than just what people would think. Yeah, and you mentioned something interesting. You mentioned, and you used State Farm. I remember their convention used to be there every year. But even I didn't even think of the Fairmont Southampton closing. Yeah. And now that was Bermuda's biggest entertainment space. Like you can have 5 different events, if not more, going on at that space, right? You could have a comedy show here. You can have a wedding over there and whatnot. What are your thoughts on what that means for Bermuda not being open?
That's gonna, like I said, man, that's gonna be, man, it's hard. That's the balance. That's the balance, because entertainment like sports, arts, it's almost like the escape from reality. That's the feel good stories. People get away just so they can escape reality for a minute. And we, no matter how you deal with your entertainment or what you go for entertainment, is needed for everybody. And when you look at closure of venues, the lack of venues for artists. So Jamal, you may know, and I'm not sure if Carla knows, but Jamal, I've been the chairman of the Teen Service Awards Performing Arts Committee for about 15 years. And we audition 20-odd kids, teenagers every year. Now, obviously this year we didn't do any because of the pandemic. But when they have the Teen Service Awards, so we interview and audition these kids. And then we have a Q&A afterwards. And we ask them the question, what would you like, if you could do anything better for the industry, what would you do? And most of them are like, look, we want to perform more. Whether it's dance, whether it's theater, whether it's musicians, they want to perform more. But we as a country, we have failed to do that prior to the pandemic. And I don't see this getting any better no time soon, because obviously you talked about it earlier with the charities suffering. Well, I hate to tell you this here, when recessions happen, or along with pandemics, the first things are to go are the arts and sports.
Yeah. Sad. There have been quite a few DJs who globally, I think it started with D-Nice, pivoted towards virtual events. And you saw it especially early part of the pandemic. It was big, and then it just went away when things started to open back up. What's your take on it? Do you expect this to be a thing going forward, or is it just a filler in?
Well, it's been happening for years. The online stream has been happening for years. Jamal, I don't know if you remember, but it basically has been pretty big in Europe for the longest period. It's almost took over from what they used to be called pirate stations. At late nights or early mornings, you'd be able to hear different stations, especially in Europe. Guys would just have these small microwaves, put it up, and then hear for about maybe a 2, 3, 4 mile radius. So now with the pandemic came along, obviously you've seen all these different online platforms that allowing people to, you would say, share the music, share their thoughts. The problem is that, like anything, once you starting to make money or soliciting money, then people have to get paid.
Right.
And once again, we get back to the online success. Well, it's okay when nobody's making money. But now when the artists are saying, okay, you are trying to solicit money by using my song. So what's happening is that a lot of these platforms have gone around or found the loopholes in the royalties of paying back the artists, and you see some shut down, some new ones will pop up, and then they will get shut down. It's all on the technology. Once you get that music recognition technology, once they started saying, you know what, we know who this song is, money needs to go to them, you're not obliging to pay the artist, we're gonna have to shut you down. So I see it both ways. As a DJ, obviously, it's a way you can express yourself, like a way you can keep relevant, especially for the younger artists or the younger DJ. Some guys may need that because you probably find a lot more people DJing. Okay, hold on, where these guys come from? They've probably been DJing for a while. They just never had the platform. The older DJs might say, you know what, I'm taking this time off because I haven't spent time with family. Weekends, for 30 odd years, I've worked almost every weekend. I hate to say this, when the pandemic hit, I want to say the third week of February, I was totally booked every weekend, Friday and Saturday, all the way to July 1st. And I only stopped taking bookings on Fridays and Saturday nights due to the fact that, as you know, Jamal, I'm also a commentator for cricket. And so, that our cricket season would have started when you're looking at the county games and cup match. And you know, I hate to say this for my age, can't do both anymore. I can't do a party, come in at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then be at Bailey's Bay Field 8 o'clock and sit in the sun all day, and then go do a party that night. I did it a few times last year, and I almost died.
So real quickly, one of the island's newest and biggest events, Bermuda Carnival, which many local DJs have been part of, was canceled due to COVID. I think Trinidad Carnival is already canceled. I think the Mardi Gras in New Orleans is canceled next year. What do you expect? Like, what do you expect these large events to return anytime soon? I mean, there's been talk of what's that thing? The needle quote, the vaccine helping to make things normal again. But what do you think these big events are going to look like in the future?
Well, you said it's going to be based on the success of the vaccine. It's going to be based on the success of herd immunity. Once we get the confidence of people wanting to go out and be around people, until then, it may be 6 months, it may be a year. That's just something that nobody knows. And I think hopefully that, you know, sooner the better for not only for the industry, but as you notice, there's been studies that, you know, physical abuse has risen during these times where people are not getting out and doing, you know, it's just so many things that come with this pandemic. And like I said, arts, sports, you've seen, Carla, you've seen what sports has done, opening up sports in the UK, what that's done, and even letting fans back into the stands, what that's done for the sport itself. But economically, and that's the other side of it, Jamal. Those major events we're talking about, not just Bermuda, those major events, they are major economic disasters for those cities, like Mardi Gras. I remember Jamal. We remember with spring break, how much money that brought to that city. Just think of the best how much money that it brought to Miami. I remember a few years ago with some of the violence that was happening in Miami during the best time. I believe a policeman got shot or something like that, like killed. They were talking about getting rid of it down there, but the economic impact that it had down in Miami. Oh no, we have to keep this. So it's going to come back, obviously, because these cities, if they're not getting the money from somewhere, they're going to need it. It becomes economic driven.
Indeed.
So Jason, let's talk about you for a minute as Jugglin Jason. You've been a DJ for as long as I can remember, from when we were, early 20s, teenagers. What do you think has kept you so relevant? Because you have these people, they come up, they go, they fade away, they're memories for some people. But I can say, and I say this to you as an accolade, you're like a living legend. What has kept you relevant through the years?
You know what? For years, I love music, and it doesn't matter what music is. From traveling around the world, performing around the world. I performed in England. I've performed in, obviously, all over the States. I performed on the islands. When you travel around and see how music affects people, and if you can bring that vibe, what we call a vibe. What is a vibe? And it's hard to explain, because when you want a DJ, you're always saying, I need a DJ that's got a good vibe. Okay, so what is it? You know, you can't touch it. You know, you can either feel it or you don't feel it. When you have a DJ that can create an atmosphere with music, because I can give you all my music, but can you create that atmosphere? Once you're able to do that, then it becomes special moments, because now you're creating moments, whether it's weddings, obviously that's a special moment for you and your fiance, or whether it's a party, or whether it's your 50th birthday or your 21st birthday, or whatever the case may be, you're always trying to create moments. So for years, I never really took that in consideration. It was just the fact that I love music. I was taught to actually learn how to play music and learn the art of being a DJ. And I think just that alone, I just wanted to always progress, whether progress with the times when it came from moving off of turntables, you know, and then onto CD, and then off of CD onto the digital format that we're on now. it's always been a challenge, and I've loved challenges, and Jamal will know that. And any challenge that I just say it's not the fact that we can do, it's how can we execute. And that's been the hardest part. Is that when I first left Bermuda back in 90, I believe 92 or so, when I came back to Bermuda to stay back in 99, you know, all the folks that we were partying with, they were all growing up, had kids. So you always had to keep reinventing yourself. And I think that's probably been the hardest trick for all DJs, is that when they are able to stay relevant outside of their age, it's probably one of the hardest things. Now, you know, you get to a certain age, like, okay, I don't feel like playing for this type of people or this group of people or this vibe. But once again, it all depends on your love for the music. If you really love music and you love entertaining people, once again, it feels like it's not a job. Also, as you know, I do production also, so I dabble in so many different things. It's not just one thing that keeps me stable.
Now, we talked about the pandemic, and with you being such a visionary in your industry, what is the most creative thing that you've seen been done by a DJ during this pandemic?
Ooh. Well, I'll say this. Obviously, you've seen guys go online, always trying to find that different platform that might have some backgrounds, might use that to increase their online viewership as far as the followers and all that. My only advice to all these guys is that, once again, this is a platform, and I talk about the word exposure a lot when I talk to a lot of DJs or a lot of up-and-coming DJs. Exposure. Exposure is a very powerful word because it can go both ways. You know, it can put you out there, but it can also expose you. So when we look at the pandemic and these platforms that have been made popular, what do you do with it afterwards? You know, and that's where, have you did enough during this time to when we do come out of this, then you can pick up gigs. You know, if you're not doing the job or not picking up, we would say, work after this, then what good was this whole period? What were you doing? So whether that may mean music management, and when I say music management, a lot of folks might say, oh, well, you know, you guys have a laptop now. It's just, you know, what is it to DJ? Okay, well, as you know, Jamal, I still buy music. Been buying music for 30 plus years. I'm in record pools. So going through weekly, brand new music, weekly music, just seeing, okay, is this good? Is this not good? Get those sets together. What's a set? Getting a group of songs that you know that's going to make people move, make people enjoy the music. So all these things, these platforms gives you a space where you can actually express yourself. But once again, you're not getting paid. So you want to make sure that once you come out of this, whatever you've been doing, it leads you to getting paid.
Now, Jason, do you believe that people, now that people have enjoyed the live streaming, like I see, you know, someone's going to be on tonight and I've seen the numbers, you know, go so high. Do you think that people, once this pandemic is over, will go back to real life partying, or will this DJing virtually have a mainstay?
I believe we'll have a place. I do believe we'll have a place because, as you know, Carl and Jamal, as older and as years go by, you see less of the club, don't you? So if you see less of the club, you always want to still feel that you're relevant. Yeah, mama knows what she knows. This might jam or whatever. So I would always see a place, but we're once again, it has to be economic driven. Is you will want to have it on a Friday or Saturday night. Agree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I think, but if you look at what happened in April and May, I think that question kind of answers itself, because especially in Bermuda, everybody just ran back out to go into clubs and parties. Like I think I saw DJ iBreeze put something up last week, like, I'm going online, and it's like, man, it's been a while since that happened. So I think people really went right back outside and started partying. They had some things in different spaces, but it remains to be seen. But like you said, economically driven. If people believe that, you know what, I can get sponsors to play online and I'm got the following, I see no reason why you can't have a certain audience for that. Yeah.
Well, you see that with verses. You see that with verses. I mean, you think these artists are just coming together because Swiss and they called them, Timberland called them? There's some money behind that. You know, the Beanie and Bunty, they're not doing it for free. I can tell you that. I can promise you that. They're not doing it for free. You know, but once again, that is also, you've seen with companies and especially marketing departments prior to this pandemic, you've seen marketing departments really fight how to get their product out via traditional media, which we were talking about print, radio, television. And then this thing called social media popped up years ago. Now, you get the young folks who are into marketing, they are very savvy into social media. But then you talk with the old person into marketing, they still believe in those traditional formats. So now with this pandemic, you're seeing a lot more people appreciate social media. And once again, what do you do with it? So when they find out, okay, once again, take for instance, your Medical House. You know, I'm pretty sure if you would have had this conversation with Medical House 5 years ago about sponsoring something on social media, you probably wouldn't have the same outcome.
Indeed. I think that's the absolute truth. I mean, things have to
evolve,
and when they evolve, people got a better understanding that this is what it is today. Let's go to some comments. A question from the Chica Trot: are DJs eligible for unemployment benefits from government?
That's a good question.
For the most part, no. For the most part, no. There's only a few guys that are actually full-time who pay their taxes. They have been obviously compensated. Most guys, it's a part-time job or moonlighting, as some folks may say. And as you know, in this world, we used to call it, in the entertainment world, we call it busking. You know, and that comes back to the days when people used to perform on a corner, put a hat down below and get money from it. Well, we was just talking about the social media side of it. It's called e-busking. You know, you see the cash apps or tippers or this, that, and the other. Yeah. As far as the benefits, no, it's a whole nother conversation needs to be had when we talk about the DJs involved in the so-called entertainment industry here in Bermuda. There's an entertainment union, but there's no benefits with the DJs being a part of that union. We have had talks about trying to get DJs come together to perform their own voice because of things like this. But nobody's would ever thought a pandemic was going to happen. So the urgency of that, you know, is hard. It's just hard. Once again, when we look at, take for instance, like a club, it's hard when you're looking at sometimes those bartenders. There might be only one full-time bartender in that establishment, but you have a lot of part-time or you say casual workers in that establishment. This might be their second or third paycheck to help them get over it, but they're not going to be compensated, not during these times.
Indeed. Rick Olson says, even before COVID, entertainment has been on the decline as clubs have disappeared. What needs to change to revitalize the industry?
Oh, that's a good Rick. I know Rick from my phones. Man, you know what? That is a very good question. And I think, Rick, it has to be a collective on all fronts, whether it's the club owners, whether it's government, whether it's the artists themselves. I remember having conversations many years ago when we used to have the music festival. And at the time it was the jazz festival, then it moved on to the music festival. So at the time, the government, when they were doing the festivals, they were reaching out to a lot of urban communities in the East Coast to bring some of their to get their money. So we would have folks come down and, okay, yes, Jay, we're going to the festival, but where's you guys' nightclubs? It's like, ooh, okay. Well, at that time, Club 40 had closed. The spot up at Dockyard, Malabar, also that had closed. Ozone had closed. The spot round where below MRIs back in the day, Escape had closed. So when you start looking at nightclubs, it's like, okay, well, where do you? So I said, but realistically, we become event-driven venues. So we would have to do a party in a makeshift hall and decorate the hall or decorate the event space until we actually get nightclubs back up. And I say that there because we always say we want tourists. We always want, I remember a few years ago when they're trying to bring back the college weeks. Okay, so what do you think these folks are going to do once they get off the plane? We have no clubs, So then it became, okay, well, where do you take them? Do you take them Front Street? Do you take them Court Street? We know how that can go, how that can be misconstrued in different ways. Some people will push folks to uptown. Some folks will say, no, don't go there. And that's that. I said, we have to have that talk with all the stakeholders and what's expected from all the stakeholders. And I think because everybody's been so separate in their thoughts and their ideas, is that we've never been able to come together and actually, produce something not beneficial just for personally, but also for the island.
Indeed. Gotta run, gotta pay some bills, but just want a quick answer on this question. Sean Smith says, Jay, do you sell any merch as an additional revenue stream, being you are not doing events?
Yes, I do. Yes, you do. And it's something that I've got into over the last few years as far as T-shirts, hats. Obviously, it's a pandemic. It's you gotta be creative. You've watched. I've probably branded myself probably the last 5 years. I said, if I'm gonna wear somebody else's logo, I want to wear my own logo, and see what we could do with it. And you've seen that now with not just other DJs, but other promotional teams using their own brands. And you got to see that a lot with the carnival, with every truck having to have their own brand and buying merchandise for their own brand. So that is something that it's gonna, I won't say offset some of the stuff, offset some of the money. No, it will not do that. But
how can people purchase your stuff?
Obviously, just hit me up direct. Just message me online. Obviously at Jugglin J on Facebook. Obviously on Instagram, and I get it to you. We deliver.
All right. We have to take a quick break. Jugglin Jason, we have so much more to discuss. A lot more, a lot of questions there. Thank you for having this conversation, because I think that throughout all of this here, people have found ways to entertain themselves through what a lot of you and your colleagues do online. However, because they've just seen it as entertainment, I don't think they've understood the impact economically and emotionally that it has had on human beings like yourselves. So thank you for this. You can catch Jugglin Jason on Reggae Mondays on the radio.com today. So if you haven't already, download the app. It's available for Apple and Android devices. And at the bottom of the screen right there, you see the full100radio.com at 12 to 3 Bermuda time.
Yes, sir. I will be there. And I can't wait because we have a new #1 for our top 10 countdown. Can't wait.
All right. We'll be tuned in. Thanks again.
Guys, enjoy your morning.
See you later.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with the daily play and then wrap it up with some inspiration from Carla.
It took 14 days to build your business plan, 6 months to build the courage to leave your day job, 3 weeks to find the perfect location. It took 10 days to outfit your space just right. And 1 day before your first client walked in the door. All totaled, it took you a full year to get your business operational. And this is just the beginning. To the entrepreneurs, the risk takers, the people that shape our economic community, we salute you and are here for you every step of the way. BEDC, providing knowledgeable, progressive, professional, and innovative support to Bermuda businesses.
Here at One Communication, we're excited for the holiday season. But we know this year has been a tough for Bermuda economy, and we want you to encourage you to support the economy, family, and friends by shopping locally. Over the next month, we will be supporting locally in numbers of ways, including giving to charity, initiatives with local businesses, and purchasing gift cards for customer raffles. How will you be supporting locally this year?
Whether it's the click of a button to shop online or visit us in store to keep your skin glowing.
Or the trendy Bermuda fashion and other amazing local collections.
We can't wait to see you this holiday season to help you pick out amazing pieces for your loved ones.
Bermuda has a lot to offer for your holiday giftings. From TVs, electronics,
to everything you need for the sports enthusiast.
Or fashionista keeping up with the latest trends.
We know we have the perfect gift in store for you.
And don't forget, cookies to leave for Santa. One bite and you're right.
Happy holiday from all of us to you and yours. And don't forget to shop local this year.
Happy holidays.
Man, I love a good heartfelt commercial. There's
So
testimony.
cute. I love that.
Thanks again to Bermuda Economic Development Corporation and One Communications getting on board with the Daily Hour. Here we go. Daily Play is a who said it. Famous lawyer stated, "We've got to be judged by how we do in times of crisis."
A famous lawyer. I wouldn't say but I know it's wrong. I was gonna say the Kardashian man, but I know that's not him. What's the gentleman I'm thinking of? The man who represented O.J. Simpson. I can't think of his name.
Well,
not Kardashian, but the other one, the black one.
I mean, he does have a name.
I can't remember it. So if you tell me, then I'll get it right. I could picture his face. Johnny Cochran.
All right, Carla, you got it.
Jamal, you're awful.
You got it. Johnny Cochran stated, "We've got to be judged by how we do we've got to be judged by how we do in times of crisis." So right now, this year, it is a crisis year. And, hey, judge ourselves by how we're responding to this crisis that we're in. Carla, do you have any inspiration for us?
I'm all excited because I got it. If people are doubting how far you can go so far, you can't hear them anymore. Michelle Ruiz.
That's a good one. Yeah, there you go. Great episode. Final thoughts on today's episode?
I would just like to say that people need to really respect what creatives do. Sometimes people think, it's just like when Nachika asked you a question about the unemployment benefit. Like, these are employees too, Let's create and let's support our artists.
I think Tanika Eve kind of hits it on the head. She says it's unfortunate because they are not considered essential, but the arts and sports are a fundamental component of any society. And I think that's in response to Jugglin Jason's just realistic, reality-driven comment that, these are the things that are first to take a hit when we're in times like this. And I'm not quite sure that's a great idea. I think arts and sports are a way of survival and comfort for people. Got to be a better way.
And not everybody wants to be an academic, like in a book all the time. There are so many ways. These gives great avenues for people to express themselves.
Not everybody can be. That's the truth. Not everyone can be. But thanks again to Jugglin Jason for doing this. Really great conversation that could have kept going. So really appreciate Jugglin for doing that. Don't forget, you can catch him every Monday and Friday on thefull100radio.com. He has been doing it forever. As Carla stated, a legend. A legend.
Living legend.
A living legend. Yeah, we don't like to give people flowers till they're gone, but this brother deserves it all right now. On that note, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. Call Azul. I'm Jamal Hartman.